What's up guys, and just before we get straight into the video, we are running an iPhone X giveaway with an iPhone X Space Grey and a gigantic package of iPhone X accessories. All the rules are in the description. Now, today we are doing a charging speed test with the iPhone X, the iPhone 8 Plus, the Oneplus 5 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Because 90% of the people who buy these phones are going to use the chargers from out of the box, those are the ones we're going to use for the test. But there's a difference. The Samsung one has a 10-watt output, the Oneplus one has a 20-watt output, and the two Apple chargers are stuck with a 5-watt output. What I've also done, just to make it a really complete comparison though, is also try charging the iPhone X and the iPhone 8 Plus with one of the 29-watt recommended fast chargers. And I'll be showing you all of those results when we bring it all together at the end. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Now, when you plug the iPhones in, they automatically turn on, so what we're going to do to keep it fair is turn all the phones on and keep them on standby throughout this test. They're going to be on airplane mode though, so none of the connections are going to drain any extra battery. For those of you who didn't know, when you charge any type of battery, it'll start very quickly and it will slow down as the juice starts to fill up. And that's why after just 5 minutes, both iPhones are on 4%, the Oneplus 5 is all the way on 10%, and the Galaxy Note 8 is doing pretty well at 7%. Something to really keep an eye on here is the different capacities of the batteries. The iPhone X has got a marginally larger battery than the iPhone 8 Plus, and the Galaxy Note 8 and the Oneplus 5 have the joint largest by quite some margin. So theoretically speaking, they should take the longest, but of course the iPhones are more limited by the output of their chargers. But as I said, when we reach the end, I'll also show you the iPhone X and the iPhone 8 Plus's fast charging speeds, so that'll make for perhaps a bit of a fairer comparison. So far, the Oneplus 5 is demolishing the competition really. It is stormed ahead at 29%, and the Galaxy Note 8 is on 19%. Between the two iPhones, they almost seem to be trading blows every time we check. I would in theory expect the 8 Plus to fill up just a little bit faster, just because the battery capacity is that bit smaller, but I guess maybe we need a little bit more time for that trend to become clear. After 20 minutes, the Galaxy Note 8 shows no sign of closing the gap with the OnePlus 5. And that is incredible. I mean, so far if you look at their charging rate, the OnePlus is going at about 50% faster than the Galaxy Note 8, which is in itself about 100% faster than both of those iPhones. On a bit of a side note, if by any chance you missed the battery drain test I posted yesterday, I'll leave a little link to it in the corner of this video, so once you're done with this, feel free to check that one out. So now we've just passed the 30-minute mark, for which OnePlus actually promises a day's power in half an hour. And considering the OnePlus 5 has managed to hit 58%, I'd say it's pretty much done that. It's also at the 35-minute mark kind of embarrassing that the OnePlus 5 in terms of battery percentage has gone 3 times faster than both of those iPhones. And not only that, but it's also got a larger battery, so 68% on a OnePlus 5 is going to mean more than 68% on an iPhone. And when you also take into account how the battery percentage is meant to fill up very quickly and then slow down, the iPhones aren't exactly sitting pretty here. Whilst it isn't exactly catching up, the Note 8 isn't falling too much further behind the OnePlus since earlier on. The difference between the two has been somewhat stagnant. And between the iPhone X and the iPhone 8 Plus, it's almost like an ongoing TV drama. Every time I check the phones, a different one has overtaken the other. Now that doesn't really mean anything funny at all is going on, all it means is that they're so closely tied, because of course the charging technologies are the same and the capacities are so similar, that the difference is negligible. Having said that, we do get a bit of an interesting result towards the end when it comes to the iPhones. As the OnePlus is approaching the 100% mark, I'm just going to keep checking it every few minutes. And what you will be able to tell is it's taking quite a bit of time to actually get that final 4%, which is not at all unusual. And if you've been keeping an eye on it, now the Note 8 really is catching up. The OnePlus 5 finally hits 100% at 1 hour and 24, which yes, when you consider it charged 10% in the first 5 minutes, is kind of slow, but relatively speaking, it's done very well. One of the benefits of the OnePlus 5's dash charge technology is it manages to offload all of the circuitry required for charging from the phone to the charger itself, which allows the phone to not only stay cool, but also allows a little bit more power to be packed in. Just before the 1 hour 40 mark, about 15 minutes after the OnePlus, the Samsung phone also finishes. So now it's just the two iPhones. And for this, we're just going to accelerate this test all the way till the end. You will notice the 8 Plus has a slight lead over the iPhone X. That is definitely not a difference you would notice in day-to-day usage. After the 2 hour mark, we're at just under 80% on both phones, so nearly there. Or are we? Because to be honest, when I was charging these phones, I started to notice a bit of a problem. As you reach the upper 80s and the 90% mark, these phones start to slow to a crawl. It's taken about 13 minutes from the iPhone X to go from 86% to 89%. So 3 percentage points in 13 minutes is slow. But believe it or not, it does actually get worse. Now my suspicion here, although it is normal for charging to somewhat slow down as you get close to 100%, is that Apple has done a little bit of tinkering. We observed in our battery drain test that with the iPhones, the battery seemed to be falling very slowly to begin with, and then it sped up towards the end. With the charging speed, it seems to be going up very quickly at the beginning and then slowing down. So it's almost like Apple tries to inspire confidence in its products by making them look good to begin with, both in terms of battery drain and charging speed. Finally, the iPhone X does end up hitting 100%, and you'll notice that is about half an hour after the point we were at 96%. 30 minutes to make 4 percentage points of gain. Something doesn't seem quite right there. So just before we get on to the final results with all the fast charge readings in there too, don't forget to enter the giveaway by hitting the description below and seeing how to enter. Unfortunately, but almost as expected, we have the iPhone X with 3 hours and 6 minutes. We then had the iPhone 8 Plus, really not much better at 3 hours and 4 minutes, but the really interesting thing here is even when I fast charge both of those phones, they still end up in 3rd and 4th place. Even though they have these smaller capacities, fast charge just isn't enough to rescue them. The Note 8 then has 1 hour and 39, and the Oneplus 5 at the top with 1 hour and 24. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out the battery drain video and also enter the giveaway. I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one.